I remember the only thing that the doctor said to me.
He said that there was no heartbeat, and I just remember this, just like a picture you would see of an ultrasound, like no movement.
He's gone, and walked away.
What did I do to make this happen? How could I have prevented it, or should I have gone to the doctor sooner and they could have saved him? Or, you know, just so many what ifs. Well, what if I didn't drink that extra cup of coffee that morning? Or what if I didn't play Just Dance last night? He probably, you know, would be here. You know, I just blame myself, like all these things that I did differently that day. And then finding out too that it was my body that caused that. Like, it was almost like me betraying myself. Like, how could my own body kill my own baby?
It isn't anybody's fault. It's almost always an accident of nature.
What if I could have done something differently. I could have woke up sooner and maybe he would have still been breathing. He was in his crib. He had we don't smoke. We don't do any of the things that, you know, have the signs of SIDS or anything. And I woke up and he was gone. I never blamed my husband, but I think he blamed himself and I blamed myself. I was not necessarily thinking about killing myself, but it was just like I couldn't get out of it. And I still, like, I wake up every morning and I think about him. I go to sleep every night thinking about, you know, what would he have been like, and it's something that'll never go away.
Mental health during and after pregnancy is becoming a more and more recognized problem. I'm certain it's always been here, but we haven't always paid attention to it. But I know that in my long career, I've had patients commit suicide, both before and after birth.
You don't necessarily just try to suppress the feelings, but you just try to get through your day. I mean, that's all it is.
Well, we ought to change the whole healthcare system so that everybody has access to care from conception to death.
When we went to Rolla, the doctor there was awful. He was not sympathetic at all. The nurses did the most of everything, and I just stood there and like wept.
Some women have had a bad experience with a caregiver in the past, and so they don't want that to happen again, and so they don't go to the doctor when they're pregnant.
I went up to St. Luke's and I got a new OBGYN, and he is absolutely amazing. Like, any questions I have, no matter, it doesn't matter. And he was just, I mean, I don't know, it was awesome up there. I had a really good experience. I see like Rolla is a small hospital. It's got a lot of problems, but then once you get up to the cities like Springfield or St. Louis and stuff like that, I think that they're more open and like willing to help you.
When we were pregnant with Sadie, our daughter, she's 4 now, we got pregnant with her 6 months after we lost Colby, and we were not planning on getting pregnant that quickly. We wanted to wait and just give ourselves time. So we got pregnant with her, and it was so scary. We didn't know what had happened with Colby. You know, we didn't know if we would lose her too. I went to a high-risk doctor, and we did almost lose her early on. A lot of the time you don't get the option to have a high-risk doctor until you've lost multiple babies. And so for me, I had a miscarriage before we had Colby, but I technically was supposed to have one more loss before I was allowed to see a high-risk doctor. I don't understand at all why you would have to go through these losses for you to be able to see a high-risk doctor. I think anyone out there would be willing to pay as much as they need to see someone that is a high-risk doctor. With Cooper, our youngest, he's almost 2. I found out with him that I had a blood clotting disorder, and that's possibly what happened to Colby.
We do a much better job of helping patients whose baby is going to die or whose baby has died than we did. When I started obstetrics, we took a dead baby out of the room and thought it was cruel to have the parent see the baby. And we now know that it's almost impossible to adequately grieve for a baby that you haven't seen dead.
We were like, we want this treated like a normal birth, because he was our first baby, and so we just wanted that normal experience.
That's one of the most important things we do. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, almost anybody can deliver a healthy 7-pound term baby. But it's hard to take care of people when you know their baby's going to die.
We got to give him a bath and hold him and just sing to him and, you know, treat him like he was alive. And I think that for us was really a big deal, because just gave us some sort of closure.
Helping them make it the most gentle experience it can be for them. We take pictures, we do footprints and handprints, and give them a blanket and give them memories of that baby. And that makes a huge difference for parents. We urge them to call the baby by name, and we call the baby by name. And it just changes life for people when it's done well.
I got pregnant really soon after I lost him, so it was kind of hard. I just felt like I wasn't going to be attached to the baby. I was worried about, like, oh, I just lost my son, so am I going to be able to love this one the same way, or am I just going to be scared the whole time? We named her after Gene Autry, which is a classic country singer. He sung You Are My Sunshine, and that was what I would always sing to Jace. So we named her Autry. I feel like if she wouldn't have came into the picture and I didn't get pregnant when I did, I would be in a really dark place. I feel like nobody understands it until it's happened to them or someone close to them. Like, they don't, you know, people just try to push it under the rug and act like it didn't happen, and that's not what moms want of, you know, people. That we have lost our son. He was here, you know, so we don't want him to just, like, forget about it or be scared to bring him up, because that was our life, you know.
I didn't know anybody who had had a stillbirth or baby loss or anything. Even my own grandma had lost a baby, and I didn't know about it until after I had lost Colby. And then all of these people started messaging me or calling me and saying, hey, I know I've been there, I know how it is.
I thought I was one of those people like, oh, that'll never happen to me. You know, I've heard, I was friends with Jess, and I was like, okay, well, you know, I hope that never happens to me. And I couldn't even imagine what I would do, but.
So it's been really neat to connect with tons of women who have gone through it, and just being there for each other. It's been, like, really valuable to have that support too.
But I feel like we've gotten a lot of people more aware, especially in this small community. I mean,
when we first lost him, we got this, just to represent him, we just made a Build-A-Bear and put his heartbeat in the hand, something to fill our empty arms. So I slept with this for, you know, probably over a year. It was really healing having another baby, but at the same time it was really hard knowing that she would never get to meet him. I gave it to her to sleep with, so she sleeps with it and carries it around, and we have it in our family pictures. She knows about him. She knows the pictures on our wall of him and what the shadow in that picture represents, and she talks about him all the time.